Right then, Marcus. Okay, so I'll count us in. 3, 2.
Sorry, ever professional. Good afternoon and welcome to RATMA TV. What afternoon? Hello. Could be morning, wherever you are. I don't know. We're international.
I'm just basically, give you a count you in, and you take the Mickey. I mean, we've got Francis here. Francis is had you, you know what I mean? And you can't.
So, we'd like to. I would
So
like to welcome.
I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to it, guys.
I'll do it again. 3, 2.
And welcome and good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are, to RATMA TV.
I'm going to leave that in, by the way.
We are joined. Good. Okay. We are. You'll have to now.
I am.
We are joined by a friend of the show, Francis Saunders, who some of you who are regular will have seen before from the early days of RATMA TV, and the fly incident.
Definitely.
I always remember the fly. Anyway, yes, welcome, Francis, and let's hear about what you're doing at the moment. What have you?
Thanks very much for inviting me on again. It's always a pleasure to come on with you guys, and always a good laugh as well.
Yeah.
Always have a bit of fun.
They're so unprofessional. That's
why. Recently, just been involved in a ill mental health film that I was asked to put together. So I directed that and put out. It was quite an interesting one, really, because there's a lot of thing about mental health at the moment, and one of the things that struck me is that a lot of people are saying mental health, but if we say physical health, it means you're in good health. So when people say mental health, surely that must mean we're in good mental health.
Yeah.
So I decided to work on the ill mental health syndrome. Right. I put a call out, and I was lucky enough to get a lot of people that come forwards, and there was probably about 4 or 5 men as well who came forward and poured their heart out to us, to the camera.
Wow.
So it was very it was a different one, because normally if you're filming anything or if you're acting anything and you're portraying characters, but these were real people who had been through some horrific stuff. But what I liked most about it was every single one of them had not given up. There'd been a point that they'd said, well, actually, I'm going to reach out for help. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to do what I can. And they're still fighting on. And some of the stories, I mean, we got one guy who came on. I won't spoil the film, but we got one guy who came on. And since all of this stuff that's happened in his life, he's become a voice for young people. He's working against knife crime. He's working against gang culture. And when you actually see what he suffered as a child, you think, man, here's someone of like really, it really resonated with me, the whole film, because I just think if we put it out there, and if there's just, we give it to all the services free, say, look, take it, run with it, do what you want with it, use it as a campaign, because if it just helps one person pick up a phone or speak to someone instead of having these really dark thoughts, then we've sort of done our job.
So is it a sort of a talking heads kind of film?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Very much so, yeah.
It's an interesting subject, and it's basically a lot more people, especially men, are actually starting to come forward and talk about issues rather than the old-fashioned way of, you're a bloke, shut up and just get on with it.
Yeah.
It's gone now, and I think that's a good thing. One of the things I will say about this whole mental health stuff is, unfortunately, we've seen the demise of what was the men's psychiatrist place, which was the pub. And the pub is reduced. And like my father used to, on his way home from work, if he'd had a bad day, he'd stop at the club and he'd have a pint with the boys and moan about what a tosser his boss was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then come home, but we don't, that thing has gone now. And that used to be kind of the way that men vented. And I think that's been lost. But yeah, it's a fascinating topic. I look forward to seeing the film.
I totally agree with you. And I think that, growing up, that, my dad was always down the local pub with his mates and just, You know, it sounds kind of chauvinistic, but it's not. But it's a bloke thing, isn't it? For blokes to just be with blokes and talk about stuff and just go, oh, you know, this has happened or that's happened, and then other people go, oh well, and then you kind of associate with each other because everyone's kind of going through the same kind of stuff.
Yes,
you know.
Yeah, it's very true, and you're right. And I'm not talking about going and getting, you know, pissed out of their heads and stuff. I'm talking about just having a pint or two and just having that time of like, you know, chatting with their mates, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we can't turn back the clock, mate.
No, we can't. I wish we could, because if we could, I'd have smooth skin, hair.
Isn't that wishful thinking?
Oh God, yes.
I'd be ginger again. Look, I think I'd be grey as hell.
I think the problem with turning the clock back is you lose all that good experience you've had as well.
That's true.
But the thing about men's mental health is we have that expression "man up." When times get tough, people say "man up," and it's like it makes people who are in need of talking just to clam up because they think I'm just being weak. I'm not being a real man if I'm doing that. I think that's really sort of, to me, it seems like a dangerous thing.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, it is good to talk, and it is good to get stuff off your chest. I mean,
but not just men. You say there were ladies as well.
Yeah,
there was ladies as well, and there was a young girl. She's autistic, and she'd been sort of bullied and pressurized, but she was one of the most strongest people I think I've ever met because she's just not fazed by it. She was just more determined. So definitely some different characters in there who'd seen some different kind of stuff.
When's it coming out?
Well, we've done a first edit, and now I just need to. I've sat on it for I've sat on it for about a month now, and I think I need to go back to it, have a look at it, and then just look at it with fresh eyes and make just some final adjustments. Just really to do with the music. Do we need a voiceover at certain points? Then just the technical stuff, really.
Yeah.
And then it'll be out, and I'll give you guys a first look for sure.
Where will it be available, please, Francis?
I'm going to send it to you guys directly, so you can have a look at it, and then I'll be sending it to all of the the major services like Samaritan, everyone really, and just saying, look, put this out there, put it out there, use it. I'll give you full permission to put it on your websites and to use it as Facebook campaigns or anything.
Cool. Brilliant! That's really good. That's really, really, really good.
Great thing to do. Yeah.
But anyway, I've heard Little Bird told me you've been doing some acting.
Well, I was going to mention I'm a bit of a thespian, but
oh darling,
oh darling, I'm in the darling brigade now. I have. Yeah, I mean, I've always been an actor, but then went into filmmaking and stuff. And one of the things on my bucket list or tick list was one of my favourite plays is Gangster Number One. Now, the movie I'm not so fond of because I think it wasn't really it didn't really depict the writing for the play. The play was great, and Peter Bowles was first in it, of all people. Wow. So I really wanted to be in Gangster Number One, and it's written by the guys who wrote Sexy Beast, the film with Ray Winston and that. So they wrote that. So I got involved in the project, and I ended up played gangster. Even though I can't see why. I mean, God, why would anybody cast me as a gangster? I just don't know. You know, I kind of thought of Aladdin or Othello or anyway.
But your delicate features.
Yeah. So I played Gangster Number One. It was well received at the Stables Theatre, sold out completely. I got some really nice reviews. It was a real big challenge because there's 70 pages of script and it's all monologue based. So there's a scene where I have to describe and I'm going to kill someone. And the director, Jonathan Lindsley, who's fabulous, he was in Last of the Summer Wine as the lady who owned the shop. It was her young son, and he's got greased back hair.
All right.
Everyone, when they see him, they go, "Oh yeah, I know him." So Jonathan Lindsley stepped in, and he got involved through a mate of mine, Bill Fellows, who said, "Look, get Jonathan involved. He'll really work with this project." And Jonathan made a really good decision, and he was a really good director to work with. But he made a good decision that I have to describe this murder. So on the stage, there's just 2 chairs. So I'm actually going to kill someone with a chisel, a gun, a knife, and all of these things, smash bottles over their head. And it's horrific, the scene is. But he decided to go with the mime of the things, the chisel, the knife. And I don't actually have anything on stage apart from me. And how I knew that I got it right was when I was describing literally the points of contact with the chisel. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw somebody in the audience go, "Oh!" And they looked away. Wow. And I thought, brilliant. And afterwards, we went to the bar upstairs, and a lady and her husband come up to me, and she said, "I feel like I just witnessed a murder, but my husband pointed out there was nobody on the stage apart from you." So I was like, brilliant. Wow. So, everyone's going, "Oh, brilliant performance," but I've got to hand it over to the director as well, because without his vision, it could have just been me going mental on the stage and gone, "Boo!" Load of smarts thrown at me. So pretty good. And out of that, I've got an agent, Patrick. I'm sure you'll be watching this, so thank you very much for Patrick.
Hello, Patrick. Well done.
And he's fabulous. He's always out there pushing me and filling me full of inspiration that I can achieve anything. So you never know. You never know. I may just put off Hamlet. Well, maybe not. All right, then maybe not.
maybe the chap in his hand in the churchyard.
Yeah, or one of the adverts. Hamlet's a cigar. One of those ones. I might get one of them. So So that was a really good experience, and it kind of rekindled something in me, I think, for acting. I did a lot of TV and theatre, film stuff. But the theatre stuff I really want to get a bit more into, I think. Or it's either that or it was just the character of gangster that just ignited some stuff, which was brilliant. And the cast I had around me were brilliant as well. They were really, they were exceptional. So I was really lucky.
It's a buzz, isn't it, when you do live theatre? Live theatre compared to film I think there's no contrast. I've done a bit of amateur dramatics and that adrenaline rush that you get just before you go on and when you're doing it, and like you say, when you looked out the corner of your eye and that woman was like, that is like, boy, oh boy, that is.
Yeah, I mean,
could somebody give me an agent? I need an agent.
Yeah, I mean, like the because I had so much to work on, so many monologues, and then I had to interact with other characters throughout the play. And then there's times where, there's a lot of comedic timing, dark humour in there as well. Yeah. But the buzz for me was right at the end. We'd done this big performance and we got there, and then got a standing ovation. I was like.
Which you don't get in films, is it? You don't get that in
films. All you get is, "Don't be late tomorrow." Yeah. Or somebody says, yeah. It's like that. I mean, film. I do enjoy the film stuff as well, but I really do think that a lot more stuff that I want to do is stage based, because it is that buzz.
I think from a performance point of view, stage is better. From a when you're working in film behind the camera is quite very good, interesting as far as I'm concerned. Because behind the scenes, I think you actors are hurry up and wait, in film, and it's hurry up and wait over there, and you just wait around, and then you get caught. I did a student film, and by the time my scene was on, it was 8 o'clock at night, and I don't think I was ready to go home. And they went, "Right, Gareth, can you come on set?" I ran up. I was like, "What?" I had to burst into this room all angry. In the first take, I was like, "Huh?" and then I had to do it properly, you know, because like it was like, right, okay. After this really angry scene, I'm going home, and but yeah, it's hurry up and wait. Whereas theatre is, wow, yeah.
Theatre's very much different, isn't it? Because when you do sort of when you're doing a theatre piece, you know, I've done the run of the mill sort of job in actors when I was a lot younger, going around doing the bits on TV or in a film, and I think the TV, unless you're exceptionally lucky and you get a really big part on a film, I think that the TV kind of acting's really just about. You know, you go there and it's a few quid, isn't it? Whereas on the stage, you actually you don't get that much finance from it, but the amount of feeling you get when you get it right.
Yeah.
You know, and it was, you know, there was some moments where you just went outside. Now it'd been so long since I'd done anything on the stage, and to walk into this massive part, and then suddenly I poked my head around the corner, it's packed, and I was like, and breathe. Yeah, it's not time to slip into Porky Pig time and yeah, definitely not.
When you look around that corner and you got
no, fair enough.
Oh, shit.
Gareth calls me 50 takes Greg, so I'm just I'm awful when it comes to doing things in front of camera. So on stage I'll be rubbish. Right, okay. Onwards and upwards. If in a zombie apocalypse, Francis, and you were running for the door and quickly grabbed the DVD player and TV to get into your bunker, what film are you hoping is going to be left in the DVD?
Oh, there'd have to be two, but I can't choose two, I guess.
No. You can mention two, but you got to.
Okay, I mentioned two. So it would have to be. I'd have to hope and pray that it was either Sexy Beast, right, or The Long Good Friday.
Ah, classic. Oh, very nice. Yeah,
it'd have to be one of those.
Now, last week's guest, Paul and Zetia, they had the clever idea of getting one with a really good soundtrack. So, you know, that might be worth something having to think about. You know? Did you hear me? I think Marcus has dropped.
No, I didn't. I lost you there. What did they say?
I said last week, Paul and Zetia, they had the really good idea of having one with a really good soundtrack. So you could put it on and just listen to the soundtrack as
that would be pretty good, wouldn't it? That's
in your bunker. Yeah.
Little bit of dancing in your bunker.
Yeah, but The Long Good Friday is an amazing film.
Massive.
I just think that, and I'll be quite honest, we've had some pretty good gangster films. I think British genre of gangsters have lost their way. I think one of the best has got to be The Long Good Friday, because they just got it so right.
Right. Yeah.
And when you think about it, Bob Hoskins wasn't even classically trained. No. He was discovered at an amateur dramatics hall, and he walked in and just done a bit.
A lot of good names in that.
Yeah. I mean, just, you know, cutting razors.
You say lost its way. I don't know. It was Layer Cake. Was that a British
Would you
film?
class that as a gangster film, though?
Maybe not, no. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking. But yeah, you might be right, actually. Yeah,
I think we have got the gangster films, and then you've got the rise of the foot soldiers, which, you know, I mean, Craig Fairbrass is great in them, but you have got a lot of, you can count how many times they're going to swear, and at points you think, well, is there a script, or is it sort of improv? Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Whereas a lot of the American films that you watch, a lot of the sort of gangster genre American films, I don't know, I just think they've got a bit more story, and the way they portray their gangsters a little bit more intelligent. We tend to portray them a bit more rough and ready, cheeky chappies.
Yeah.
And I just think,
the Cray Twins was a good one. I quite like the Cray Twins.
Yeah, I liked Legend. I liked Legend with Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Really good. You know, really. And yeah, I mean, there are some good ones out there. I mean, you watch some of the streaming sites and there's some bad ones and you go, damn, how did they get the money for that? And then you watch some others and go, well, actually, I wouldn't have minded being in that.
Yeah. No,
I think you're right. The script does make a film. I think a good gangster film has got a really good script.
Yeah, all the effing and ripping and all the rest of it kind of does distract from it. I mean, especially if you go back to the 50s and 60s kind of, you know, they frowned upon that kind of thing.
Yeah. There's something.
Oh, he's gone. I don't know whether this is me or whether it's you guys, but I think Marcus has got a bad connection.
Probably.
Oh, you're back, Marcus. Okay. So that's the DVD question.
Yeah.
And the other one that I like to ask is, have you ever had any really bad advice, and did you follow it? And if so, what was the outcome? And if you didn't, what was the outcome?
All right. Yeah, I have had some bad advice.
Well, come on, RATMA TV.
And you're still here.
Do you know what I think? I think the bad advice that I mean, I've been given a lot of bad advice over the years, but I think the bad advice that I was given that would resonate with a lot of the people watching this or inspire a lot of people is where somebody once said to me, if I was you, I wouldn't even bother with acting and filmmaking. You're never going to get there. And I was like, why is that then? They said, well, you know, you've got to be lucky. You've got to do. And I just thought, all right, well, that's fair enough. And okay, I'm not famous. I'm not a big filmmaker, but I look at that advice and I think if I had followed that advice and I'd just gone and never experienced what I've experienced, I would have lost out on so much. And I guess as an actor or filmmaker, if you're looking for Hollywood stardom, that's a tough one to follow. But if you're just looking to fulfill yourself as whether you've done a short film, whether it be a smartphone film, whether you've done a bit of acting on the stage or amateur dramatics or something, why should you not follow something you really want to do? So that was the worst advice I've ever been, well, not the worst advice. That was a bad advice I've been given, and I didn't follow it.
No.
And
I hate that term luck. I mean, I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said it's funny, the harder I work, the luckier I get. But you know, you're right. I really can't stand that term luck. I think you create your own luck, and
I think so. Yeah.
You know, it is a case of going out there. If you want to do something, go out and do it. Don't just sit on your ass not doing it, and wishing I wish I had your opportunities. That's the other one I hate.
Yeah, or you know, you've been extremely lucky. I'm like, well, not really. Not really. You know, extremely lucky doing what? When you're sitting down and not bothering to do anything, I'm writing off and saying, hello, I want this to happen, I want that to happen. And a lot of people say, oh, you never do that. Well, someone's got to do it.
Yeah, you don't roll
so
you can't roll a six, can you?
Someone's got to do it. So why not have a go at it? And I'd rather it states, here lies Paul, gave it a go, rather than here lies Paul, regrets everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here lies Paul, as usual.
Yeah, as usual. Yeah, yeah, still on his back. Yeah, for sure.
At the end of the day, you were nothing, and then you were something, and then you're nothing again. And if you don't make the most of what you've got in the middle, then basically, you know, you're wasting your time.
I think sadly, that advice is probably given by every careers advisor in every school in every land every day of the week, and that's a real shame because, you know, it's I suppose these days people are aspiring to being, you know, TikTok superstars or, you know, YouTube influencers or whatever, or Instagram influencers, and there's nothing to say why not go and do it, why not try it. It's all right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Look, we're gonna have to wrap up. Unfortunately, because
okay. Well,
that's how
listen.
we go. It's been fantastic having you.
Thanks very much for having me on. I'll send you over the film that you
Please.
can have a look at, and please
Yeah,
feel
please.
free to share it with anyone, and get some feedback and some comments. That'd be fabulous.
If you don't mind, can we put it on our YouTube channel, RATMA?
Absolutely, that would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate that.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, we'll put it on our Facebook and on our YouTube channel as well.
Fabulous.
And keep up the good work, my friend.
Lovely, guys.
Lovely
thank you
to
very
see
much,
again, Francis. Brilliant to
and
see you again.
I'll keep in touch.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
please
Keep
do,
dropping
anyway.
in.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
And put some money in your electric meter.
There we go.